Hi guys, today we're going to take a look at a Japanese cavalryman in China in 1944. This figure is a bit of a mystery because other than the date of 1944, there's no other identifying marks except for a manufacturer's mark to tell you what the figure is. Now when I picked this figure up, I thought he was an officer. And so I thought, yeah, I'll put him in with the officer collection and he ought to fit in just fine. But the pictures that are in the advertisements for this figure are a bit misleading. I was looking at some of his kit and I was thinking to myself that, you know what, this doesn't seem like an officer figure. So I started to take a little closer look. The uniform looks like the Type 3 lightweight uniform and cap, and he's wearing standard issue boots. And he also has some real nice leather leggings. Now this uniform setup could have been worn either by enlisted or officers. But the leggings were the things that kind of threw me off, because during my research I didn't find any photographs of any enlisted people wearing these types of leggings. I had to dig a little deeper. Now he's also equipped with your standard canteen and utility pouch, and he also carries the Type 44 Arisaka carbine rifle. And the other interesting thing about this figure is he comes with a cavalry sword. That was my first clue that he was a cavalryman. Here's a nice look at his equipment. Traveling light. He just has his bread bag and canteen and the Type 44 rifle across his back. He also has the standard infantry helmet with cloth cover and a nice set of dust goggles. Those leggings are made out of a super soft glove leather material. Now this little green patch on his uniform is his branch of service indicator, and that tells you that he's in the cavalry. Now the only problem is these weren't worn after 1939. He wears the rank of corporal, and they did a real nice job of reproducing that tab. Now his field cap looks pretty nice as long as you don't look too closely. The buttons that hold on the chin strap aren't centered, and the drawstring in the back is frayed. Quality control could be a little better. Now he also comes with a 10-pouch cartridge belt that looks very similar to ones I've found online that were issued to Japanese paratroopers. But I haven't been able to find this particular belt in any of my references. So while we're looking at the extra stuff that came with this guy, let's talk a little bit about the Japanese cavalry. By 1944, the Japanese cavalry had pretty much transitioned from traditional mounted horsemen to dismounted reconnaissance and motorized units. And while the Imperial Japanese Army maintained some horse-mounted regiments for scouting in China and in Manchuria, other units in the Pacific Theater were reorganized as standard reconnaissance detachments, often fighting purely as infantry units. This figure comes with a wood and metal Type 44 Arisaka carbine rifle. And it's a real nice looking piece, nice and heavy. The problem is it feels very unstable. The bolt is supposed to work, but when I tried it, it felt as though the upper receiver assembly was going to come off. Now the folding bayonet, that works nice and smooth. My only other complaint would be that there's no adjustment in the sling. The length you get is the length you get. The Imperial Japanese Army's few remaining operational horse-mounted cavalry brigades were utilized for border security and patrol operations on the Asian mainland. So we're talking about China and Manchuria. In places like New Guinea and the Philippines, horses were highly impractical, and the few cavalry elements deployed there fought almost exclusively on foot. The Japanese cavalrymen, officers and enlisted, carried swords in World War II. The cavalry troopers were equipped with the Type 32 cavalry saber. The Type 32 was a government-issued cavalry sword, and it was first issued in 1889 and would be carried until the end of World War II. Now the figure comes with a real nice metal helmet with a real nice detailed liner and cloth cover. The dust goggles are a little on the cheap side, but I can live with that. And take a look at the head sculpt on this guy. This is probably as realistic a head sculpt as I've ever seen on a 1/6 figure. You know, I just can't get over the realism. The more I look at this guy, I almost expect him to blink or to shift his eyes. I mean, that is a really realistic head sculpt, in my opinion. All right, so we've established that this guy's a corporal in the Japanese cavalry, and he's stationed in China in 1944. And with the exception of just a few minor flaws, I'd have to say that this guy's a pretty solid figure. And I like him. I really do. And if you see this guy for sale somewhere, go ahead and pick him up. I think he'd be a good addition to your collection. The only thing this guy needs now is a horse. Well, that's it for today, guys. You can stop back anytime. Playroom's always open and Big Sarge is always here. And we'll see you then.